So it's very much our kind of response to some research in the painting area at the Slade, to look at the kind of extremes of painting. And one extreme might be the notion of painting as an object, and the other one is more my area, which is painting as a kind of extension of architecture. So completely illusionistic and without any kind of physicality at all in that sense. So we've been kind of looking at those things. But here we're kind of coming up against the shelves, so we're thinking more in terms of the object. But just to confound matters, I've brought an architectural model.
Oh, the black one. If I thought that it was square, 15 centimetres by 15 centimetres, so I would have to make it fit within the box. So my things were made to be quite small to fit in within, and I wanted to make it as punchy within. I didn't want it to look at all aesthetic. I wanted it to look angry and aggressive and have a kind of sense of inherent violence even in that size. So I made made a bullet, a kind of bulleted shape anyway, and I painted it black. And it's painted black with Joe Volley's Iron Gall ink, which was the ink that they used to make all the documents with in the olden days. Right. So I sort of thought of it in terms of speech, or things that were written down, and that wasn't able to write, but it's kind of got a point to it. So I was thinking of speech and bullets and sticks and stones will break my bones, words will never harm me, that kind of thing. But the main thing was that it wasn't aesthetic.
I just encountered downstairs poster of this exhibition, which was called Gas Pipes, and there were photographs of yellow gas pipes, infrastructure lines that were placed all over small towns and bigger towns in Romania in the 1990s, sort of crossing outdoors lines of infrastructure, crossing gates and following a very strange logic of the architecture, or lack of logic. I kind of started my pipe in my line in the other room where the exhibition was, and try to understand how this logic or lack of logic works in relation to the existing elements of architecture and shelves. And so I'm running out of tape. I buried it.
A ribbon, a very wide ribbon, strongly coloured, red, yellow and black, and it's a piece of ribbon that I bought years ago, I suppose struck by the kind of colour properties and relationship that had interested me in paintings I'd made, and never knew what the hell to do with it. I've always thought of it in painting terms. Don't know what that means, but I thought I could use it in some way. So it sat quietly stuffed in a drawer. And then this was the moment, seeing the varied shelves as well. I love the idea of something draping itself over, not sitting on the shelf. So this was just an opportunity to let something hang, maybe a little bit painting-like.
So you were saying it was acrylic?
Yeah, acrylic panel, and I painted acrylic paint on the acrylic panel, and the most important thing is to find new elements of material which is usually found object, and I don't usually hang my paint on the wall. I like my works as standing.
So they are objects?
Yeah.
What's interesting for me is the way how, I'll call you all art students broadly, is that all right?
Sorry?
If I say you're all art students, is that all right? I know you're not, but it's close. The way how you talk about what you do quite differently to architecture students. It's really interesting. Interesting for me anyway.
I've been up to sort of entering the sound world, and I think I didn't know what I was going to put here today, and I think with Gary's invitations, it's always good to just sort of have a couple of options with you. So I brought a bunch of rubber bands, and thought I would attach, like, hold something to the bottom side of a shelf with a rubber band and be clever. But instead, I stretched them between shelves and accidentally remembered that would make tones if you pluck the rubber band strands, and then I was happy with it.
You are getting tones.
Yeah,
Go
the
on.
one in the maybe. We'll see if it shows up. Yeah, it likes it. Yeah.
This one?
This one is good. Yeah.
Musical shelves.
Musical.
Water is pumped out of disused, redundant coal mines, which then is settled out in large-scale sort of swimming pool lagoons, and the water oxidizes, and iron oxide particles in the water solidify, oxidize, and that's the result. So that's been collected from one of these sites in a coal mine in West Lothian, Scotland.
I did try and make two things for today, one of which is still so wet I couldn't move it, so I just banded it en route. And the other one I realised was a handling object. So perhaps it could have come, but I just felt every time it was put down it kind of killed it. So I didn't like the idea of it being on a shelf. And this, apart from being the right size, I like that it's designed to either be shown on the wall or horizontally. And this is the first time I've shown it horizontally, which kind of changes it quite a lot, kind of moves it from being a painting or a composition, and instead it's much closer to being like food or some kind of offering, serving. So it kind of just makes quite a simplistic proposition of serving paint or encouraging you to think of paint as something you might encounter and consume in a different way other than visually.
Sort of inspired a little bit by hagstones, like the little chalks, for instance, you find on a beach that have got holes in them, and they're meant to be sort of magic objects and protecting the household or keeping you sort of calm and asleep and things like that. So I've got versions of it with loads of holes, but I didn't want to make it look like actual rock. I wanted to sort of make it, man-made, but also the surface kind of natural and organic.
Ideal studio, artist studio, and actually the model became the sculpture itself. The studio is supposed to contain all my artworks, but actually the studio became the artwork itself, and I'm in control of what I'm doing here. I'm quite in control of it, whereas in public art, you've got so many constraints and so many things imposed upon to you. It's quite difficult as a context, so it's quite liberating to do that.
And you call these?
Archi-sculptures.
It's funny enough that it was Le Corbusier's gift to housing, really, or menace to housing, that he modelled his early houses on sort of artist studios. So you'd have one wall which was fully glazed and that sort of thing, and probably a balcony. So it's an interesting subject.
This might actually be the emergence of the pocket department, something I've been planning for a very long time, which was prompted by David Green's Invisible University. It was a response to that call out. And yeah, it's there. So that's where it first started, and then formed slowly formed later. Yeah.
Someone else should put them, and I think we should be able to move the objects around. I think these should be curated again and again.